Hello everyone, my name is Cavis and I'm a mage. As such, I expect to have this channel be very mage themed in the future, so keep an eye out for that. I used to be a YouTuber many years ago, but for the last few months I've wanted to get into the WoW YouTube community and I thought, what better time than right before BlizzCon while hype is overflowing. Now, what are we to expect from BlizzCon? In the first draft of this video, I wanted to say that it was very likely that we would see the public release of the Warcraft trailer, as Duncan Jones tweeted earlier this year that we would see it in November, and it coincides with BlizzCon, so what better time to show it to the world? Since then, not only did we get a tweet that announced the trailer would in fact be released on Friday, November 6th, aka the first day of BlizzCon, we've also seen an amazing teaser trailer that, if you pick it apart, shows quite a lot. High Elves, Harvest Golems from Westfall, and possibly even Karazhan. We've also seen a few leaked stills. Now, because there is no Warcraft movie panel, it can be assumed that we'll see it as part of the opening ceremony. What a way to get people pumped for BlizzCon, right? In that draft, I was saying to expect to see Stormwind with Lane and Lothar, and Draenor with Durotan and Orgrim. We've since seen all four of them and Stormwind, though no Draenor. We can still expect to see both villains, aka Medivh and Gul'dan. We can also expect for it to emphasize that, though a full-on war is about to take place, there is no bad side, as saying the orcs aren't the bad guys will set them apart before everyone says that this is just some sort of Lord of the Rings ripoff, which it is definitely not. As for Legion, if we're to see a decent release date, the beta needs to begin as soon as possible, probably at BlizzCon. It wouldn't be the first time that they would have announced the beginning of a beta test at BlizzCon, and of course, they could give keys to attendees and or people who played the Legion demo, much like they did with the Mists of Pandaria beta. In the demos, it's pretty likely that we'll see playable demon hunters playing through the starting area and into the Broken Isles with one or two starting zones. As such, we will probably also see the demon hunter class order hall. I don't think it is very likely that we'll see any other class order halls in the demo. I've been anticipating a February through April release date, as any sooner is unlikely and any later would coincide with the Warcraft movie, something I know they're not foolish enough to do. We may even see an official release date at BlizzCon. We do know for certain that they will be going into detail on some engineering changes and we'll probably see how the new professions will work. We're definitely going to get some information about class changes, class order halls, the new honor system, new talents, how gearing is going to work with the changes to the stat system, and more information about the Broken Isles itself and why $1 and Acaris are moved to it. Also, with the quarter 3 earnings report, they announced that they will no longer be announcing the subscriber count, which could possibly mean that they're switching to free to play, or just simply making another big announcement that relates to it in some way or another. You should definitely keep your ears peeled. Now, this is where my theory crafting begins, and as such, if you are avoiding spoilers for Legion, please exit the video now. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe for more videos in the future. Now, while it is not 100% certain, it is pretty likely that we'll see the Legion cinematic. All past cinematics ranged from 3 to 5 minutes in length and actually showcased quite a bit. Think Cataclysm through Warlords of Draenor especially. My own predictions lead me to believe that either we're going to see the Battle for the Broken Shore in the cinematic, and patch 7.0 would be us taking care of the fallout, similar to the Blasted Lands quest in 6.0, we were just dealing with the aftermath. Another theory is the cinematic could just be the actual invasion, how it happened and what exactly the invasion entailed, or rather whom, leading us to think, what are we going to do about this? Think the Wrath of the Lich King cinematic. In this case, the Battle for the Broken Shore would be part of patch 7.0 and could be very similar to the Wrathgate questline, which ultimately ended up with an epic cutscene showing everyone falling victim to the plague and the beginnings of Bolvar Fordragon and Draenor Sourfang's damned fates, which would later tie into the Icecrown Citadel raid. Regardless of which of these are the outcome, it is likely that one of them will come to fruition. And whether it's answered in the cinematic or in patch 7.0, the question remains. What happened that Blizzard says will be so completely shocking? It can't be that Sargeras arrived, because though I really believe that he'll at least make an appearance in Legion, they've kind of been hinting at it, and it's really not very shocking. Could it be that King Varian Rin dies that shocks us so? If we're to believe that everything that has happened will happen again and continue to happen from the whole Archimonde and Hellfire Citadel is the same Archimonde from Mount Hyjal, might we see another steadfast warrior strike a blow on Sargeras himself, only to lead in his demise in the end, much like Broxigar Sourfang, of course. And then Anduin's Legion synopsis sort of alludes to his father's death, so in the end, that's really not very shocking either. Could it be that it's Thrall's death that shocks us?
as we as a fan base have always been so sure that Green Jesus would never die. Or maybe Medan makes an appearance, and that would be quite shocking. For those of you who don't know, he is the son of Medivh and Garona with the power to harness the light, the elements, and the arcane. He could be a main character joining our fight against the Legion and Sargeras himself, as he is the latest Guardian of Tirisfal. We might even see Medivh himself, as I've been saying since the announcement trailer. If you read The Last Guardian, you know that Medivh's spirit found some way to live on. It could be through Medan or simply just through some other form, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Medivh when we finally see Sargeras. While we're at it, why not Magna Aegwynn, who has never been confirmed dead? She probably has been in hiding in Dustwall Marsh this whole time and could make an appearance. Medivh could have been with her this whole time. That whole family would be a huge fighting force against Sargeras. It is also very likely that, in some form or another, we'll see the Titans, as it was heavily hinted towards at Gamescom. Ultimately, this is all just theory crafting, and what is really concerning is why Jaina Proudmoore is angry enough to turn her back on the Kirin Tor and the Alliance. I saw someone speculate that she could potentially reemerge as a warlock, though I really hope that doesn't happen, as Jaina has always been my favorite character, and as a mage, my main character's hero. There is potentially a truckload of information about to be unloaded onto us, so get ready.
On to some other things that we are likely to see. Of course, since the beta test for Overwatch just began last week, we are likely to see a lot of hype and gameplay there. We may even see an announcement of more heroes and/or maps. For instance, while I was watching Jesse Cox's stream on opening day, he noticed a map on the wall that showed all of the Overwatch hub locations around the world, some with bases that are already mapped, such as Rio de Janeiro and Russia, while others we haven't seen, such as San Francisco and New York. We could also get a release date, as the game is quite polished already, and I'd imagine most of the testing they're aiming for is somewhat minor. We will absolutely be seeing a lot of StarCraft 2 Legacy of the Void hype, as it's about to be released. I expect some playable content. There is also a 1 hour Diablo 3 window, and perhaps they may announce an expansion that they'll elaborate on more next year. We can only hope. Lastly, I expect news for Hearthstone and Heroes of the Storm to be very minor. Those titles will most likely be resting on the back burner in the aspect of news. All in all, hopefully BlizzCon will answer questions lots of us have had for the last 3 months and will be just as fun for the community as it usually is. If you liked this video, please like it and subscribe to my channel, as I'll be making more videos in the future on a regular basis, and I'm already working on my next one. Have a good one, guys.